the law of compound interest applies to knowledge as much as it applies to finance. We are formulating our new manifesto, which is that everything is possible unless prohibited by the laws of physics. And we're growing with our innovation stack companies to compound financial and knowledge wealth. This is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's November 5th, 2020. This is Krim Delko. For the day, since the last update, actually, the fund is up 11%. The market is up roughly 4%. For the year, we are up 215%. The market is up roughly 8%. We're outperforming by 207%. So we are talking about a new manifesto here. We're formulating our new manifesto, and it is based on the principle of optimism as described in David Deutsch's The Beginning of Infinity, which is everything is possible unless prohibited by the laws of physics. This is the fundamental thesis of optimism. We are also talking about the need for us, or the necessity, to develop an idea stack and compound the knowledge that we grow with our companies, with the innovation stack. So we as investors are in the same exact position like founders of disruptive companies, that we are building a stack. We call this the idea stack, and we compound our knowledge the same way that companies compound their innovation stack and become very large. So our fundamental process of generating wealth is based on the concept of investing in disruptive technologies. And we as a fund, we have to build an idea stack. We have to grow with our companies, ask questions, find answers, solve problems, ask questions, find answers, solve problems, continue this flywheel in order to be able to ask new questions that we don't even know about today. This is the fundamental insight of what we've taken from the 4 books that our fund is based on: the 0 to 1, the Innovation Stack, Innovator's Dilemma, and the Beginning of Infinity. And based on the Beginning of Infinity, the fundamental idea is that we are contemplating every possible project which is not prohibited by the laws of physics. It is our job at Orange Capital Partners to nail the timing, to find the right entrepreneurs, to find the right sizing, to find the right investors on our side to be able to go through the thick and thin of building up an innovation stack of a disruptive company. This is our job. In particular, timing, of course, is critical. Finding the right entrepreneur at the right time to build an innovation stack, to create something which hasn't been done before, to build the valuable company that nobody else is building, according to Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. This is our job. This is what we're in the business of. Generating wealth by investing in disruptive technologies with large impact is just the mission statement, but underlying that mission statement is the task to find a subset of all opportunities that are not prohibited by the laws of physics, that allow entrepreneurs and us together to grow wealth. This is our job. Now, let me digress a little bit. First of all, we have, in terms of examples, the biggest example we have is Tesla. Tesla is exactly that kind of company. We've been invested in Tesla for the last 8 years. We are very happy with that investment, and we'll continue with that investment. The question now is, what are other ideas, other opportunities within the realm of all possibilities unless prohibited by the laws of physics? So should we invest in a company that is building something which is larger than the speed of light? No, because it's prohibited by the laws of physics. Is quantum computing an interesting subject? Yes. Quantum computing is something that we started working on in 2017. By the way, when we start a knowledge stack like that, we usually start with either a university course or an online course, either to refresh our knowledge or to even gain new knowledge. So, such was the case in quantum computing, where we spent some considerable amount of time doing online courses at MIT, and then we started doing the conference circuit. We were politely invited by a few companies, such as a Swiss company, a quantum computing company that is in the quantum crypto space. They invited us to a very important 3-day seminar. We had the opportunity to meet some of the leaders in quantum communication, quantum cryptography, quantum dynamics, quantum electrodynamics, such as Charles Bennett, Arthur Eckert, and others. It was a very important seminar because it gives you the foundational knowledge, the feeling that you have a chance to ask the right questions. And this is really what we at Orange Capital Partners focus on. We are not defined as in what we do. In a sense, we invest money or we focus on this sector or that sector. We are following the Popperian concept of we define ourselves by the problems that we're tackling. This is really what we do. So if you ask me, what do I do? My answer should be, those are the problems I'm working on. And these are the questions that I've been able to ask relative to those problems. So going to a seminar like this quantum cryptography seminar in the Swiss Alps in 2018, it was in early 2018, gives you a foundational knowledge, gives you a foundational base on which you can start asking questions. For example, later on, we met people at Rigetti Computing, a startup out of Berkeley that is working on quantum computing. We were able to conclude that the physical substrates of quantum computing are not as important as people might think right now. They are important in a sense like the transistor was important for digital computing, classical computing, I'm sorry, because you need something to run your computations on. However, what that something is doesn't necessarily change the fact that you can do the computations, and the computations are really what you're after. So insights like that help you develop a question stack and the idea stack on which you then can keep building on. For example, what are the applications that quantum computing could be first interesting for? And crypto is one of the interesting parts of quantum computation because you can do cryptography with physics instead of mathematics. And therefore secure internet and networks much deeper. However, we also realize that that is computationally very difficult and physically and financially. So long story short, we are still in the phase of developing our idea stack in quantum computing. We haven't invested really in anything serious. Microsoft and Intel both are engaged in quantum computing, but in our view have no material impact for as far as the business is concerned. But this, of course, could change. So I'm using this as an example of a theme that we've been following now for 3 years, and we keep building our idea stack. And hopefully at some point we can start translating our knowledge into investments and returns. Different with Tesla. With Tesla, we started actually with a conference that was about lithium. It was a company, and I unfortunately can't remember the names anymore. The company was sold. There was a CEO of that company. I think he had a Persian name. And he was very adamant about the future of lithium and the future of electric cars. It was around 2012. Another side note, in the same year, we also met people at Carnegie Mellon that were talking to us about the potential for machine learning and in particular self-driving cars. So these were new concepts for us. And we then looked at Tesla as a company because we were told that that is actually the most serious player in the electric car space and that we shouldn't waste our time with the established car companies. We then looked at Tesla, and it happened to be the year when the Model S was released, and it was love at first sight. And we started building our idea stack around electric cars, around intelligent electric cars, around intelligent, fast driving, interesting electric cars. And so the innovation stack of Tesla kept growing with us. We then looked at distributed utilities through Solar City. We then started looking at storage. We spent a whole month working on storage, and we went to a conference, utility/storage conference in San Antonio, where we spoke with battery manufacturers, and we started realizing that Tesla has a cost advantage and a business model advantage relative to all these other players. And we started building our stack one after the other. We looked at insurance companies also. We spoke about insurance first, more in terms of, can you insure a self-driving Tesla? And then slowly we started realizing that insurance is actually a massive opportunity as relative to robotaxi. And the whole concept of insuring a car can be turned on its head. You can have an insurance product that charges 3, 4, 5 times more than the usual insurance product because you're getting rid of the driver. So instead of having a driver ensuring that there's no accidents, you now have an algorithm, a software, and you have an insurance product which is closely entangled with the software, developing an algorithmic way to price the insurance properly. So these are just some thoughts. So you see, the questions now we're starting to ask are, what kind of algorithm do we need on the insurance side to tie it into the AI and develop the most cost-effective insurance product? These are questions that weren't asked 3-4 years ago or in 2012 when we first encountered the concept of self-driving cars, and we actually spoke to insurance executives about their ability to insure those cars. In those days, we were thinking, well, there's an insurance industry and there's a car industry, and those cars happen to be self-driving. Now, we're changing the way we're thinking about this. There is an industry of self-driving insured cars. This is one fully integrated industry. Right now, it instantiates itself through Tesla. In the future, there will be more competitors, of course, but right now, Tesla is driving that market through vertical integration. So I'm giving all these examples to show the listeners how the idea stack is built, how we do it, and I think how everybody else who is in this business is doing it. And there's two things that are critical here. Number one, you cannot generate wealth unless you are part of an innovation stack. And number two, as a fund manager, you have to keep building an idea stack on top of the innovation stack that you're investing in, so you can start asking the interesting questions in the future that nobody else is asking. It gives you differentiation, and by definition, it gives you opportunity to generate wealth, because the more questions you have that are relevant but not asked by anybody else, the more secrets you have, to use Peter Thiel's words, and the more secrets you have, the higher the potential is to generate wealth. So to summarize, we are in the business of generating an idea stack through finding the right subset of opportunities in the whole set of opportunities, which are defined through our manifesto as all the opportunities that are not prohibited by the laws of physics. So it's our business to find that subset where there is the opportunity to generate wealth, which in clear detail means the opportunity to start building an innovation stack. Building an innovation stack is thinking small and then subsequently building yourself into a large company, conquering a large market. That is what the building of the innovation stack actually means. And for us at Orange Capital Partners, our main task is to find those opportunities and then grow with them. This is the key. And growth in knowledge compounds the same way that growth in money compounds. So the law of compound interest is applied to knowledge as much as it is to money. This is an amazing insight. The reason the innovation stack works is because technologies compound. The reason the idea stack works is because knowledge compounds. Knowing something about electric cars, knowing something about AI and how electric cars are programmed helps you understand the insurance opportunity. So this is compound knowledge. This is what we mean with when knowledge compounds. And this is a side effect of building the idea stack, but in our view, it is the same thing. Compound interest generates wealth. Compound knowledge generates wealth. It's the same thing. It's just two sides of the same coin. Thank you.